Voidwalker just being in play shuts off the combo.
It does. Ernesto does have the full 4 Thoughtseize himself in the sideboard, which will help to fight off some of Andrew's discard. Would not be surprised to see a lot of discard spells in the post-board games.
Yeah. I mean, every card in the Rakdos deck is live. Hand Disruption is good. The removal itself is good. Dauthi Voidwalker just being in play is good. Yeah, the Unlicensed Hearse is actually live.
Yeah, Andrew actually has the main deck Hearse, which I think is the only person we've seen all weekend playing it. But with 4 Voidwalkers and Unlicensed Hearse, main deck, along with 7 main deck discard spells that are targeted, plus Liliana's, should be in a good spot. And we saw Fury do gross things to the Yawgmoth deck throughout the weekend. There is a singleton of Fury in the main deck for Andrew as well.
No, I mean, Ernesto put on a good show earlier and really made some great plays. So I wouldn't count him out. Just based on that, things could end up going his way. But yeah, just based on the cards we're looking at, I think Andrew's favored. Now it does look like Andrew's at least on one mulligan. This might be a mull to 5. I think both players may have mulled to 6, and Andrew may be going to 5.
Yeah, I think so as well. Not a deck that you want to be mulliganing with. Doesn't have a lot of pure card advantage ways to draw extra cards. But hopefully only down 1 card compared to his opponent. Looks like Ernesto is happy with the hand that he's looking at. I see 7 cards still in hand. He may not have resolved a mulligan if he took one, or he may not have taken one. Wasn't paying close enough attention while you and I were gabbing away. Andrew looking at 7 cards, deciding to put 1 back.
Yep.
So
Ernesto kept 7, Andrew down to 6. Not the end of the world.
Nope. Andrew contemplating his first land drop. May have changed his mind. And Fetch is going to get us started. Both these decks want to jockey for position, hand it on board. The first deck that starts to set up its plan, Andrew, by forcing the discard like this, is probably going to be favored. Looks like Ernesto kept a land-heavy hand. Going to lose the Noble here. What's that green card in his hand? Is that a Boseiju?
It's a Boseiju.
Okay, so he kept 5 lands and then was hoping to probably go off the Noble to make sure the Yawg happened, or use the Boseiju as a tech card instead of as a land.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time Boseiju is not going to be a land, right? It's going to actually be a spell. So that's not a bad hand.
No.
Opening hand, game
In
1,
the
you don't
dark.
know who you're playing against. And even if you do know what you're playing against, if it's Rakdos Midrange, I don't know if it's that bad enough to shit back.
I don't think so either. For those asking, this is a 13-round tournament. We are in round 13. These players are playing for top 8. The winner will be locked for top 8. The loser has an outside shot if everything breaks their way to make it into top 8. You can see the standings at the link that has been shared in chat. We'll be covering the entire top 8. Andrew here with a second discard spell. And Ernesto just puts the Yawg in the graveyard.
Yeah, I think the land
that he drew is the one he played.
Yeah.
So full hand is known. Ernesto now with nothing to play except for a Boseiju. Looks like you draw a birds maybe. And this is just perfect for the Rakdos deck.
Yeah, the card he was down from the mulligan. It's already made up. I mean, Ernesto's entire hand is just land heavy. Stuff like Eldritch Evolution and Chord Calling are way worse when you just have 0 creatures in play. Mm-hmm. So now if Andrew has a follow-up threat to go with this, and a Liliana, basically a threat here. Empty board, and now we just start cleaning up Ernesto's hand.
Ernesto's best draw at this point is almost certainly Grist, his own Planeswalker for 3 mana that starts pumping out creatures because it'll be able to break parity with the Liliana in the long run. Anything else, the Liliana is just going to be able to eat. Strangleroot Geist would take multiple turns to even be able to kill the Liliana as Lily, takes apart the hand. Andrew is down to a single card in hand.
Yeah.
The fetch land getting a 1/1 Dryad Arbor. No worries about it getting destroyed with all these in hand.
Yeah, and now that'll help if Ernesto does end up finding Eldritch Evolution. At least you've got something you can pitch to it.
The Hunter Burton Memorial Open playmats you can only get by being a VIP this weekend by landing yourself in the top 8. or by purchasing from the prize wall over the course of the weekend.
It is the Phyrexian Obliterator. It's not a hairless, skinless cat, even though some people have confused it.
Does kind of look like that.
I've definitely seen a cat do this pose before. So
the silent auction also had a 1 of 1, which is a foiled out version of this playmat.
It looks so sick. It's on one of the slides in between rounds, so you keep an eye on that. Also, at the bottom of our screen, we have our QR code. If you're unable to make it out this weekend and want to contribute from home, there's a link to our donations for gaming against, gaming, or awareness for suicide, gaming, to prevent suicide.
Yep, all of the proceeds this weekend end up going towards gaming to prevent suicide. The entire point of this weekend is raising money for the charity and trying to reduce suicide in our community and in the people that we love. All of your donations are greatly appreciated if you're going to the QR code. Also want to give a big thanks to the sponsors that are the people that help us do this. We've been over them. They're at the top. We'll go through the whole list again shortly. So Andrew found and kicked a Turok to take the last 2 cards out of Ernesto's hand. And so now we're top deck versus top deck. Liliana and Turok facing off against a bird and the Dryad Arbor. I know which side I would want to be on.
Yeah.
Andrew is just, it's Andrew's weekend.
It really is.
I mean, been running hot for 2 days, 3 days.
Right now. Yeah.
For those that don't know, Andrew won the Friday event, which was a 32-person sealed 5K for Ian Jashaway's Memorial Fund that goes toward funding a scholarship in neuroscience, which is what Ian was studying. We had his finals yesterday morning, and he has been on a tear in the main event after that.
Yeah, I mean, 10-2 is a great record. He's looking great so far in this match. And there we go. There's the Dryad. The Dryad Arbor getting some use with the Eldritch Evolution. But this is only going to get up to a converted mana cost 2 creature. Strangleroot guys. Not bad. So that if Andrew doesn't have anything, that can finish off the Liliana. Yeah, and now it's just, it's Strangleroot guys versus the Turok.
Yeah, Turok bigger, but after a block, the Geist would be able to trade with the Turok. We don't know what the 1 card in Andrew Webb's hand is, but that's a decent draw for Ernesto getting the Liliana off the table. But Lily has kind of done her work in getting the hands emptied before that.
Yeah. Oh, taking 2 from a Blood Crypt.
What is
Fury?
Just the hard cast of a Fury.
Fair enough. Right, Strangleroot guys will now come back with the Undying trigger, and it's a
3/2. Can't profitably block the Fury with double strike. Neither can the wall.
Yeah, so
but they can hold
still
back the
get
Turok at least. I believe there are 3 counters on Turok. I can't. Maybe 2. I can't actually tell. Get more obvious dice.
Yeah.
Maybe as we get into the top.
Oh, it's 3. Okay.
Yeah. So that is a 5/4 Turok and a 3/2 with double strike Fury. And we talked about how Fury is really backbreaking in this matchup. Only killed 1 here, but blocking a 3/3 with double strike is tough. And Ernesto's only at 13. If he just takes this, he's falling to 11, or he takes 11 and falls to 2. My bad.
Yeah, this is a tough spot. I don't know that he's going to be able to get out of this, but last time I said that, Ernesto won the game.
He did come back with some tricks that we didn't expect. So the Geist falls in front of Turok. 6 damage should drop Ernesto to
upkeep. Colligan's command.
Discard the card you
discard
drew.
a card. All right.
And that's enough for Ernesto.
Work.
And that's how the Rakdos deck draws it up. A couple discard spells, play a Liliana, shred both hands, and even after a mulligan, Andrew's deck did what it wants to do, and Ernesto kept only a couple spells, and they got taken apart in the early game.
Yeah, I think the hand was actually fine to keep. I mean, like we said, Boseiju is usually just a spell out of the hand. I mean, it's hard to throw back mana creature and Yawgmoth.
Which is the most important thing you got there. We're looking at Taylor's deck here, thinking about the ways that he can sideboard. Shieldred is just a big creature, is sometimes good in these matchups. I don't think I'd be bringing in something like Haywire Might, but Thought Seizes of your own to maybe fight fire with fire. I'm not sure how I would play this if I'm if I'm Ernesto.
This is tough. When it's kind of black mid-range deck versus black mid-range deck, I personally don't like bringing in discard spells myself and doing that fight. Like, let them be the ones who have to answer my threats instead of vice versa, especially since you're the more aggressive deck. But I don't know. In this matchup, you may have to.
In a matchup that's going to devolve into a top deck war most of the time, I think that the value of Thoughtseize and discard spells goes down a lot because it's a really bad top deck if you're both top decking later in the game. On the red-black side, I think keeping them makes sense because you need to break up a combo.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm not sure that I would just bring in defensive Thoughtseizes here.
Yeah. I'd probably bring in the Shielder as just another threat.
Another threat, maybe Endurance.
Maybe.
But
for Pyromancer.
Yeah, I don't like much of the options. And if we switch decks and we look at the options that Andrew Webb has in his Rakdos deck, see if we can get the overlay updated with Andrew's deck here. He has some options that I definitely would consider bringing in. Most notably that I see is 3 copies of Engineered Explosives.
Which
can help.
There's a lot of 1-drops in Taylor's deck for sure.
So not a whole lot of graveyard hate in the sideboard to go get. There is a second copy of Unlicensed Hearse. You got to assume that's going to come in because it can break up the combo.
Terminate, possibly.
Yeah, Terminate is extra removal, but I don't think I'd play Necromentia. I don't think it's meant for this combo deck.
I mean, just aiming Yawgmoth is pretty solid.
It's pretty good.
I don't know. I might bring one in.
I know that you asked earlier when you had him on camera why he was playing the Ob Nixilis. It wasn't for this, so I wouldn't expect the Ob Nixilises to come in here. But Engineered Explosives to just kill a bunch of 1-drops can be very powerful if the green-black deck is relying on its creatures for its mana.
I'd consider Chalice for one, but I think you have too many good spells at one to do that.
Yeah, I think Chalice is designed to be here for 0 against Rhinos and things of that nature. But again, I think I would want to be on this side of the matchup based on the access to cards in the sideboard and the tenor of the main decks. Looks like our players are cutting each other's decks and getting ready for Game 2. Once again, here at the Hunter Burton Memorial Open, these players are playing for top 8. The winner will be locked in top 8 and likely have the #1 seed for all of top 8, which is incredibly important. I like that change to Magic for top 8s. Making standings after the Swiss matter more, definitely a big deal. And both players keep. Ernesto starts with the Young Wolf, key part of the combo.
Looks like Andrew's going to have a Ragavan, pass the turn.
No turn 1 discard.
That's good for Ernesto. Doesn't mean that he doesn't
have it.
Ragavan may have just been a better turn 1 play.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. You don't want to attack the Ragavan into a Young Wolf.
Yeah.
But it's also possible that Andrew values making sure that a Yawgmoth doesn't get into play, and if you wait on your Thoughtseize until the turn before they can afford to play the Yawgmoth, it's the best chance of them having drawn one or had one already in hand. Some of the complexities that go into playing discard spells.
All right, Ernesto with the Wallaroots and another Young Wolf with a counter on the Wallaroots. Pretty good start for Ernesto.
Much better start. Can't tell if he has more of the combo pieces in hand.
Urborg and Unlicensed Hearse. Something that Ernesto will have to answer if he wants to go for a combo.
Yeah, trading the Ragavan and eating the Young Wolf while it was in the graveyard was definitely an option there. I don't think that it's one that Andrew wanted to take. Obviously, he's hoping to get some value out of this Ragavan. It's also possible the Ragavan would just get picked up by the wall. And given the option now, he is going to throw the Ragavan in front of a Young Wolf and eat it with the Unlicensed Hearse while it's in the graveyard.
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, it's good value.
Yeah, I mean, the Ragavan's not ever going to get
It doesn't seem like it's ever getting through on this board, so better to have left it back and gotten the trade. And a full trade for an Undying creature. Can't beat that. Ernesto looking at a hand with... Looks like Endurance is one of the cards that he brought in. Could be considering just playing it as a 3/4.
Yeah, I mean, 3 mana, 3/4 is pretty good, actually, against the Rakdos Midrange deck.
Looks like just a second wall. Ernesto building his mana up, notably only with 1 black mana. Lots of green mana.
Yeah. Andrew now with an Inquisition, so we'll see what Ernesto's working with here.
Maybe considering flashing in the
Yeah.
Endurance there. But it looks
Besides
like he
that,
has 2 of them.
2 Endurances and an Eldritch Evolution.
I think you just take the Evolution if you're Andrew here, because double Endurance, not really any value in taking one of them when you can't take them both. And I assume we're going to get one flashed in at the end of turn here to put some pressure onto Andrew.
Taking 2 from the Blood Crypt. And another Ragavan. Ragavan a little
Another
lackluster
road
this
bump.
game. Yeah.
Just a road bump. Sometimes you got to slow people down.
Yeah, looks like Ernesto's going to be flashing that in.
Just as a 3/4. It does represent a decent clock. Andrew is at 16 currently. Ernesto has 4 power in play. I mean, 4 turns isn't the fastest of clocks, but I think we're deciding if the Endurance put the cards on bottom, and Trigger decided to target Andrew instead of target himself. I believe you can target yourself with Endurance, right?
Well,
he did it
before.
He did it on camera, so I would hope so.
Ernesto untaps. We know one of the cards is
Another Endurance.
See what the other one is.
Ernesto doesn't want to get this other Yawgmoth eaten in the same way, so choosing not to swing it into the Ragavan. We looking at a mid-combat chord here? Is Ernesto, or is he just playing with his lands?
Oh yeah, I think he's waiting on Andrew. No, they're both looking at this attack pretty intently.
If you're Andrew, I think you just take this here. If you end up drawing even just another Ragavan, it allows you to trade for the Endurance.
Just takes it.
And, 3 is a much longer clock than 4, so.
Looks like the play for Ernesto was just a fetch land and Lightning Bolt on the Yawgmoth into turn. And we will see that eaten with the Unlicensed Hearse.
So Unlicensed Hearse eats the 2 cards in the graveyard. Ernesto could have flashed in the known Endurance to shuffle, or to put those back on bottom, just to reduce the power that's on the Unlicensed Hearse, because you do have to worry about Unlicensed Hearse getting crude and blocking as well, because now it's a 4/4.
Yep, and here's a Season's Pyromancer. So Ernesto's going to, looks like, pitch the, it's the discard guy. Turok.
To get 1 token.
Draw a couple cards, get a token. So now he does have enough power to crew the vehicle if he wants to.
Well, the crew is only 2. Ragavan can actually crew it.
Oh, it's only 2?
Yeah,
Okay.
so just the Ragavan with the 4 counters on her stops the Endurance from attacking. And again, we see that Andrew has kind of taken over with his board control and discard a little bit to break up. That Eldritch Evolution would have been a big, important piece here for Ernesto if he had been able to cast it.
Back to Ernesto, decides not to fetch into turn.
And not to flash in the other Endurance, saving it for probably its effect.
The play is an Ignoble Hierarch.
So Ignoble Hierarch now allows the Endurance to tack in to the crew. Andrew could trade away the Hearse and one of his creatures for the Endurance, but I don't think he wants to get rid of Hearse. I guess he could block and then activate Hearse, targeting his own graveyard.
Is the Hearse not a 4/4? Or it is a 4/4. Right, so he can activate, block, and eat his own graveyard.
But if he does
5/5.
so, Ernesto can flash in the other Endurance and put those 2 cards on bottom instead, leaving it as a 4/4 and getting the trade.
Yeah.
So I think Andrew is probably just taking the 3 this turn. We're going to see if Ernesto wants to. Yep, Ernesto does want to keep the counters off of the Hearse.
Doesn't need to fetch with the Urborg on Andrew's side.
Yep. So smartly keeping the Hearse at a safe size. Neither player has cards in the graveyard now to turn on the Hearse. No Misty Rainforest fetch there, an important part of it.
Andrew with 3 cards in hand, Ernesto's 0, and there is a Dauthi Voidwalker, and now there is another speed bump that is going to slow down the combo.
Yeah, Dauthi Voidwalker, just an excellent card that both applies pressure and shuts down combo decks and graveyard-based decks all by itself. One of my favorite cards to come out of that set was Dauthi Voidwalker.
Yeah, just really strong with all of the discard out of Andrew's deck. And here we are again. I mean, we're more to stalemate this game because the creature's on Ernesto's side. So as it is right now, Andrew's basically stabilized the board. But I guess they can start getting in damage with that Voidwalker, though.
Yeah, the shadow basically being unblockable. Yawgmoth off the top, though.
That is pretty solid.
That is good, but with the Voidwalker in play, it's tough. Whatever you sacrifice, the Voidwalker can bring back on your side.
Well, the first thing that's going to get targeted is the Voidwalker.
But it requires sacrificing 2 creatures to kill it.
Yeah. Price you're going to have to pay.
And then the Unlicensed Hearse was 6 power at that point. Even the Yawgmoth here, I don't think is enough in the moment.
Right, going to chump an Endurance. This is a 4/5 Endurance.
Mm-hmm. Good chump with the Pyromancer since it has the activated ability in the graveyard.
Yeah.
It also does allow you to have another card for Unlicensed Hearse if you want to be able to turn it into a 5/5. What are you making the tokens here? Or are you Well, let's see what Ernesto does. So Ernesto's going to target the Dauthi Voidwalker.
Going in on the Voidwalker now, lose a life, draw a card. Yeah, I mean, I think growing the hearse is more important than making extra 1/1s, but...
Mm-hmm. Ernesto deciding what other creature to sacrifice that Voidwalker is going to get
Interesting. It's one of the Endurances.
Yep.
I mean, I guess without the Hierarch, it's not getting through anyway, so...
So Voidwalker, in response to the second counter... no sacrifice. Was the Voidwalker summoning sick there?
Yes.
He was just played last turn, right? Yeah. So, into turn, Hearse is going to just eat the 1 card to become a 5/5 and leave the tokens. Now with 2 cards in graveyard, I think that's the right choice. Turn it into a 5/5 and leave yourself with the option to make tokens as chump blockers. Ernesto now sitting on 3 creatures. Needs to find an undying creature, but has to deal with the Hearse before he can really start going off. Great Thoughtseize top deck there for Andrew to break up
Shieldred or Hapatra.
And yeah, so we saw Hapatra do really big things for Ernesto earlier today.
Yeah, and that you don't need.
Don't need the graveyard interaction. This Thoughtseize has to take the Hapatra, I think.
That's a tough one. That's a tough call. And that is...
Wow, no,
no, he goes with the Shieldred. Okay.
Shieldred?
Okay.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Wow. I mean, yeah. Okay. Let's just take them both. And Andrew Webb, just all weekend, just doing it.
That is awesome. Andrew has been running just smoking all weekend long. So I think we're gonna probably get tokens made at some point. Sun Licensed Hearse is probably gonna start turning sideways sooner or later.
Yeah.
But it is dangerous with Yawgmoth in play to tap it. Andrew is sitting at a very precarious 5 life.
Okay, going in for more cards and taking out more creatures.
I think it's the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, you can get it. You can very easily make it to where you just can't crew it.
Yeah, can't crew and attack for 5, right? That's lethal.
Yeah, that's it. Wow, we're getting to game 3. What a amazing play on both sides.
Ernesto has been very cool under pressure in finding lines to win games that look just very bad for him. Both players have been great all weekend, and it sucks that we're going to lose one of them before top 8. Looks like
it turns out It's pretty funny that double Thoughtseize actually put Andrew dead on board.
Yeah.
Ernesto didn't do all of his tricks were in play.
Yeah. It was all known information.
The double Thoughtseize ended up putting him at lethal.
Yeah. If he doesn't Thoughtseize, though, he's just gets board wiped by the Hamatra anyway.
Yeah, you might end up having to leave him with the Shieldred, which isn't great, but it might be the only way you survive another turn.
Yawgmoth is such a powerful card.
Yeah.
I could see bringing the Necromentia just because it feels like that deck is never beating you in a game it doesn't have Yawgmoth in play.
I agree.
I don't think it's maybe designed for this, but your deck feels like it has the other deck in every other avenue, but Yawgmoth is just it's a messed up Magic card.
Give a shout out to one of our sponsors this weekend. Card Cash is one of Texas's premier Magic the Gathering vendors specializing in complete collection buying and total deck construction. Family ran and locally operated out of Abilene, Texas, Card Cash can be your go-to vending partner for friendly, personal, honest service. Visit us at cardcash.crystalcommerce.com to browse our complete booth inventory and order online today. For collection appointments, send us an email today at cardcashtx@gmail.com. That's cardcachetx@gmail.com. I personally visited their booth today and finished my mono white mid-range standard deck. They had everything I needed. Very nice people, and they're here, serving out cards today.
If you're in Abilene or near the area, I know there's probably not a ton of choices out. That part of Texas is wonderful people to deal with, and you should definitely go check them out if you're in that area. While they shuffle up, I am going to give a little shout out to some of the other people this weekend. We've talked a lot about the Hearst Convention Center and the Hilton staff, and we want to thank them again. And more than 50 people volunteer every year to put this event together. I do want to make a special thanks to the director of our charity operations here. You've seen some videos of him throughout the weekend. His name is Aaron Giddings. He works tirelessly to make this event happen every year. The director of our event planning, Joe Klopchek, longtime judge and member of the Magic scene all over the country. And then Donna Burton, who is the treasurer for our event and who you saw earlier on camera with being interviewed by Daquan Watson. Looks like Ernesto and Andrew are looking at their first sevens.
Well, this is game 3, final round of Swiss. The winner of this is in the top 8.
Likely the top seed for the top 8. They both keep. And start on Ragavan again. See if there's another Yawgmoth to keep the Ragavan at bay.
All right, Ernesto, the coast is clear. No turn 1 discard. Let's play it all out there.
Looks like I see an Endurance in Ernesto's hand again. No play. It's really rare for that deck to not have a play on turn 1.
Yeah, I think both decks have just an overabundance of 1-drops.
The Fatal Push from the sideboard.
There it is. Okay. The one of.
I didn't think that Ernesto would have kept a no 1-drop hand. And a quick Dothy Voidwalker from Andrew, a key part of the plan to combat what the Golgari Yawgmoth deck is trying to do.
Would you have rather saved the Fatal Push for that?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, didn't you let the Ragavan
Nobody
go
wants
nuts?
to get hit. So it was always Bolt the Bird. It really is Bolt the Ragavan today.
Yeah,
it's the much more important creature, but
Voidwalker just stops your entire game plan. But
we saw Yawgmoth is good at getting it off the board.
To be fair, yeah, it's not. I guess it's not as oppressive. You can just kill the onboard trick.
Yeah, we both talked about Dothy Voidwalker as kind of a block for the Yawgmoth deck, but Ernesto showed that it really isn't. Yawgmoth just sacrificed two ancillary creatures.
You have to have 2 extra creatures to just throw away and the rest of your combo engine ready to go. But yeah, you won't be able to. You don't want to throw away your Undying guys for that.
Luckily, the Golgari deck is just all creatures and some lands.
It is. Wall of Roots.
And Ignoble Hierarch. Neither of those with Shadow, notably. Not going to be able to block.
Andrew Graven Cairns.
Love that card.
Another
a second Voidwalker
and a Fatal Push. That will exile the Hierarch.
Taking away the black mana here instead of the mana on 2 turns on the Wall of Roots, probably the right choice. We've seen Ernesto struggle to hit a second black source multiple times, including earlier in this match. But interesting choice to whether you hit the multiple mana or the multiple colors of mana. I love that art on Graven Cards, the kind of future sight where it was a completely different card frame.
Have we hit all of the future sided stuff now? Is there anything left?
Grove got printed, right? There were some like weird Steam Flogger boss things, right? With contraptions we've never gotten.
I think they did cover that. I don't remember. I think they did cover that though.
I love Twitch chat saying this is a 90-10 matchup for one of the one of the decks. 90-10 matchups basically don't exist.
We're on game 3.
We are. 90-10 matchups basically don't exist. Oh.
When I first started to learn how to play Magic, it was with the somebody's busted up deck that out of their pocket that was held together by a rubber band unsleeved, and it's all kinds of crazy big angels and dragons and artifacts and whatever. And I messed around with Magic for like a year or so before I ever saw a card with 1 mana cost. I thought it was the weirdest looking thing because everything in those decks it was just fine. You spend half an hour playing lands before you actually cast anything, and then it was like a carrion feeder or something. I saw. I was like, what is it? It's only 1 mana. That's it. You can do that. It's so weak.
Ernesto brought in the might
just for the hearse.
I guess just for the hearse. That makes sense.
I think that's the only target.
Yeah. I mean, Hearst was a thorn in the side.
It was brutal, but now you're facing down double unblockable Voidwalkers.
Yeah, that's a very quick clock. Yeah. Den of the Bugbear adds to the clock.
You might see a chord for 1 here.
Chord for 1 to find a Hierarch.
Or chord for 2. You can chord for 2.
You
sorry,
can chord for 2.
Yeah, I forgot about the Wallards. And an Eldritch Evolution in hand too.
So this gets Strangleroot Geist, then you can Eldritch Evolution the wall into a Yawgmoth.
You still don't have enough creatures to get. You got to get both the Voidwalkers.
You got to get both Voidwalkers off the board.
Oh, double Voidwalker is brutal.
Yeah, for those asking, we had just shy of 500 players for the main event. We've had thousands of players across the weekend. We've run 200 different events between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Total grand prizes and purse given away more than $25,000. We've had Pokemon events, Cryptic. Oh, is that
Hapatra?
Hapatra.
So
was it for 3?
It was for 2.
Oh, is Hapatra? My brain said Hapatra was a 3. Yeah, it's 2.
So we may, if Andrew has no response, we may be able to set up an engine here to get both of these Voidwalkers off the battlefield.
Yeah. Andrew is sitting on 2 cards with 3 untapped mana. Will need a Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt, Terminate. I mean, he has a lot of options that he can have in hand. But
Ernesto doesn't really have a choice. He's got to go for something here because these Voidwalkers are going to kill him in 2 turns.
Yeah. All right, so Hapatra deals damage. You get to put a -1/-1 counter.
Okay.
And
get a guy.
Make a guy.
So I imagine a Fatal Push or a Bolt would have already been cast.
Yeah.
Fatal Push might be holding off.
Because maybe you want to kill the Yawg if they have one.
Or maybe Andrew just didn't know there was a deal damage trigger.
Andrew reading the card here. Modern is a big enough format that you're going to come across some cards in a long enough tournament that you've maybe never seen before.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've played against Yawgmoth. I've never had Hapatra enter the battlefield against me, so I've never had to read it.
So Ernesto going for the Eldritch here, sacrificing Wall, heading for, we got to assume, Yawgmoth.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew sitting on 2 cards, doesn't seem to be responding. I assume understands how the Yawgmoth and Hapatra is going to work. I see at least 1 land in hand. I'm not sure what the other card is.
God, if Ernesto pulls this out, it's a 90-10 matchup, David.
Evidently it's a 90-10 matchup, guys. Of course, now they're going to say it's 90-10 the other way.
Right.
Sure. 50% of the time it works every time. And Yawgmoth comes into play. Going to sacrifice the snake, put a +1/-1 counter, make a snake, draw a card.
This might be the game.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think Ernesto's going to be able to physically
He's not going to
win
outright win
this
the
turn.
game here.
But clear both of the Voidwalkers.
Yep.
And
Draw 4 cards.
Probably just stop there for now.
Den Bugbear can't profitably attack into a Yawgmoth.
Oh, wait, does he not play the land this turn?
I don't believe so. He's been sitting
Okay,
on
so I
2
can
for
do a little
while.
bit more.
Having to have gotten rid of the wall, doesn't have any mana creatures. On 1 mana, maybe a Yawgmoth here, but
Yeah, I think
there's
I
going to be a pass.
I think I saw an Endurance. in
Andrew
there
needs a
somewhere.
removal spell for Yawgmoth right here, or is unlikely to win this game.
2 mana. Terminate on Yawgmoth.
Good draw.
Still got action.
Unfortunately, Ernesto drew 4 cards there.
And,
3 cards there.
And got rid of both Voidwalkers. Yeah.
And is
it's
now
pretty brutal.
considering drawing some more cards.
Yeah.
So, Yawg is going to sacrifice, looks like sacrifice the Might and target the snake. And then we'll make another snake from the trigger on Hapatra, I think. Looks like they're sorting out exactly what's going to happen here.
Targets Hapatra. Make a snake.
Yeah.
Draw a card. Another snake. Or no. Oh, okay. Nope. That's
Yeah.
going to die.
So that's it.
Leave the max amount of creatures on the battlefield. Looks like a Blood Artist in Ernesto's hand. I think I saw an Endurance earlier. Still got some more gas, and Ender's down to 1 card. And nothing in play.
Yeah, losing both Dothy Voidwalkers the way that he did, not having the Terminate on the turn it mattered,
Man,
but drawing it a turn
Ernesto's
later.
done some work with this Hapatra this weekend.
It's if that terminates 1 card earlier, Andrew kills the Hapatra and likely wins this game very easily with 2 Dothy Voidwalkers. Instead, he draws it the turn after his board gets wiped, and Ernesto draws 3 cards.
Gonna play the Boseiju. I believe there may be 2 Endurances in hand now.
Yeah.
And a Blood Artist.
Ernesto with a wealth of choices.
Plays the Wall of Roots. Yeah, now you can use the Hapatra trigger to possibly put a counter on the Wall of Roots to make another snake. Oh, a grist. Okay. Yeah, make an insect. Oh, not one you really want to put
Not
off
one you
the
want to
top,
put down, but
it's okay. We're furthering our board. Grist is a problem.
yeah, and
Coming in with what we can.
Andrew gonna fall to 14 here.
See what we're doing with the Hapatra trigger. Oh, okay. Kills the
Kill a snake, make a snake.
Well, kill an insect, make a snake.
Sure.
I guess. Is there any reason for that, or is it just for fun? Do the snakes do anything while Hapatra's playing?
Whenever you put one. No. The snakes have death touch. The insects don't.
Okay, all right, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Do the snakes always have death touch?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, Hapatra's nuts.
Yeah, Hapatra's very good. It's a very, very big addition
My
to this
goodness. Ernesto's got 3 1-month death touchers.
deck. Andrew with his 6th land in play. Ernesto stuck on 2 for most of this game, but has pulled away that key turn to terminate a card too late for Andrew
Add
Webb.
the Strangleroot guys getting in for 4,
5.
5, 6, 7. Holding back the Hapatra.
Yeah.
Because the Bugbear.
Because of the Bugbear.
Yep. No. Okay. Take 5. Same clock. That's fine. So I got a Grist activation to do this turn. Throw down the Blood Artist.
We need like a wildfire off the top here.
Yeah.
to get back into this game.
Making insects.
Oh, I miss wildfire.
That's it.
That's it. Man, Ernesto has played just fantastic
Very
Magic
impressive.
every time
Very
on camera.
impressive.
Andrew Webb
Also,
fantastic all weekend. Comes up just a little bit short here. There is an outside shot that Andrew Webb makes top 8 in 8th position. Based on the number of people that were playing, at last we checked, one of the X3s might make it in. If any of those end up in a draw, it's not gonna work out, obviously. But we will see Ernesto back, likely as our rank 1.